From the studios of Channel 12, it's your John Deere Bandwagon. Each week, a favorite band of our own Upper Midwest with a 30-minute review of some of your favorite old and new style music. The Little Fishermen, the Northern Playboys, the Six Fat Dutchmen, the Jolly Lumberjacks, and Elmer Shy. These and others all brought to you with the best wishes of your nearby John Deere dealer. Tonight's music is by Ivan Kahle. And now here's your musical wagon master, Chuck Bassick.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the John Deere Bandwagon. Mighty nice to have you here. The music's provided by Ivan Kahle and his old-time band, and we're glad to have them here, too. Let's have a good round of applause for Ivan and the boys. Nice to see them back here again with us on the John Deere Bandwagon tonight. You know, the weather hasn't been everything that we expected to be, I guess, but I guess it's finally clearing up. And so for those of you in the studio tonight, we want to extend a dry Minnesota welcome. We hope you enjoy yourself for the next 30 minutes with our old-time music. We're mighty happy to have you here, and come on back and visit us again and visit us often. So let's get the party underway, dancing and listening to fine old-time music. And here's Ivan Kahle and the Guido Polka.
John Deere's 34 and 38 4-H harvesters. What's more important, they're a cut above the rest. New cylinder cutter heads with strength to spare. New knife sharpener that's second to none. New methods for easily changing length of cut. New recutter screens for extra fine cutting with the heavy-duty 38. New exclusive pivoting feeding mechanism for improved feeding and greater capacity. The row crop units are new inside and out, too. They feature exclusive rubber gathering belts for better feeding and far greater simplicity, plus an exclusive power corner that forces leaning stalks back in line. All this and the reliability of John Deere.
John Deere dealers in your area include Lakefield Implement, Lakefield, Breen Implement in Fairmont, Caldwell Implement in Amboy, and Mankato Implement in Mankato.
Well, you know, it's always a real pleasure to welcome these fine folks to our Channel 12 studios and to the John Deere Bandwagon. We know they like this old-time music, and we're happy that they can join us. And it's always a real pleasure to pass on our congratulations to people when they visit us here. For example, Mr. and Mrs. George Harting and Sigrid, the Hartings celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary. Is that right? 50?
Yeah.
Way back there? How about you then? 30, all right. 50 and 30. You're back there 50, huh? Wow, are you from, it's your wife's birthday too, isn't it? All right, then happy birthday, and hope you have another 50 years of wedded bliss, okay? Fine, and you're 30 years up here, and you're from Redwood Falls, is that right? Mr. and Mrs. John Majerus, is it? Okay, fine. Well, let's see, he's 50, you're 30, and you two ought to get together and trade stories. Well, fine. 21st wedding anniversary over there. Well, great. I hope you all have a very happy time. You know, we've got a number especially for you, and I want to see everybody out here dancing to this number as long as you're celebrating tonight. Here's Ivan Kahle and the band and the Lakeside Waltz. Ivan? Old-time music by Ivan Kahle on tonight's John Deere Bandwagon. I'd like to remind all of you that you're always welcome to our John Deere Bandwagon, but I would like to pass along this reminder. You know, our fall programming season begins next week, and that means that there'll be a switch in time for our John Deere Bandwagon. You'll see it every Wednesday night. The night is the same, but we're going to move it up an hour, so it'll be on at 7:30 rather than 8:30 beginning next Wednesday, September the 25th. So you'll be sure to look for the John Deere Bandwagon at its new time throughout the winter season, every Wednesday night at 7:30 here on Channel 12, moving up an hour beginning next Wednesday. Well, we have a couple more requests here. We want to do this one especially for Lennis Shavy of Sanborn, Minnesota, who's with us in the studio audience tonight, for Mr. and Mrs. Donald Kaufman of Wells, Minnesota, celebrating their anniversary next week, for Genevieve Mullen of Walnut Grove for a birthday, and for Mr. and Mrs. Eugene Berg and Mr. and Mrs. Peter Berg of Minneapolis. Okay, here we go. A polka for you, this one titled The Jolly Crowd. crowd mover, the Jolly Crowd for you, is played by Ivan Kahle and his band on our John Deere Bandwagon. We had a request here for a waltz, and we want to be sure to acknowledge that for Mrs. Emil Moss for her birthday, which will be celebrated on Saturday. And the gentleman would like to hear a waltz in this particular instance, and so we're ready to oblige. And this time we're going to call on our concertina man, Roger Kubish, who's here with his fine concertina work on a concertina solo. This one titled The Accordion Waltz. Okay?
John Deere's business is more than selling farm machinery. It's serving people.
Tonight's music on the John Deere Bandwagon is provided by the Ivan Kahle Band, and of course it's been a little while since Ivan and the fellas have been here, so officially we want to welcome them back to the John Deere Bandwagon, and I think, Ivan, we also want to welcome this fine crowd that we have here tonight. It's great to have these people come on in and enjoy music, isn't it?
It's a pleasure to be here for the Ivan Kahle Band, and fine to have the people. It's a pleasure to have them.
Well, I see you got a few requests there and a few dance dates, so why don't we get at those, Ivan?
We got some requests. Play a number for Mr. and Mrs. George Wagner and family, Lisseur, of Lisseur, requested by Mr. and Mrs. Bruno Wacker. I hope that's Wagner, that's right. Mr. and Mrs. Bruno Wacker and family. These people are in the studio, and we want to welcome the folks. Next request for the 45th wedding anniversary of Mr. and Mrs. Charles Dippard of Henderson, and also for the mechanics at Steckman Brothers in Henderson, and also for Miss Mrs. Cliff Hermel of St. Peter, that's watching tonight. Also play a number for Miss Mrs. Reynold Fierst, I believe it is, and Donald Horish, and Nancy Stika, and also for Mr. and Mrs. John Hendershide Sr. and Mary. And this is requested by John Hendershide Jr., and John is in the studio also.
Okay, fine.
Now we got a few more requests here. A tune for David Novotny. His birthday was Friday the 13th. A number for Father Capone, who's in the Miller's Hospital in St. Paul, and we hope him a speedy recovery in his operation. Right. Also for Mr. and Mr. Harold Guts of Lester Prairie.
And now how about those dance dates? You got a few of those listed
we got a few. Saturday, September 21st at New Germany Hall, New Germany. And this is a wedding dance for the wedding of Larry Stender and Phyllis Kuntz. Friday, September 27th at the Hamburg Hall, playing for the Hamburg Baseball Benefit Dance. Saturday, September 28th at the Playmore Ballroom in Glencoe, and this is also a wedding dance. Friday, October 4th at the Playmore in Glencoe. Saturday, October 12th, Somerset, Wisconsin. Saturday, October 19th at the Riverside Ballroom in Carver. Saturday, October 26th, the VFW Hall in Hopkins. And then in November, we'll be in Gibbon Ballroom in Carver and other spots like November.
All right, fine. And before long, you'll be back here on the John Deere Bandwagon.
Yeah, I'll have another request here for a gentleman over at Blakely Township. A tune from Martin Marbach of Blakely Township, who just got a new car. He said I should dedicate a tune to him. And I think it was a John Deere.
All right, finally, can't forget
He didn't tell me what the name it was.
Okay.
Also a tune for Bob Summers of right from Mankato.
All right, fine. Well,
Thank you,
thanks, Ivan. You bet. And we'll let you go right back to work again. Just as soon as we explain to the folks that we have a number of other requests and dedications, and you'll see those on your screen tonight. Now, you may have written into the John Deere Bandwagon recently and included a birthday request, and we're sorry we can't put birthday requests on the roll-up. We limit that just to anniversaries. So if you have an anniversary coming up, let us know, and we'll try to get it on the roll-up for you. So here's the roll-up, and here's the music. It's a polka entitled A Young Widow Polka. Fine music for you by the Ivan Kahle Band tonight on our John Deere Bandwagon, and it's a real pleasure to be able to bring them to you, and we hope that sometime real soon that you'll be able to visit us here on the John Deere Bandwagon. And we just quickly like to remind you that the Bandwagon will be switching times now, not dates. Remember, it'll still be on Wednesday, but effective next Wednesday, September 25th, the John Deere Bandwagon will come your way 1 hour earlier. That means it's 7:30 on Wednesday nights, beginning next Wednesday. So you'll be sure to make a note of that so you won't miss it and can join us or visit us here at our Channel 12 studios. Well, we have a waltz coming up for all the waltzers, but we have some requests for the golden wedding anniversary of Mr. and Mrs. Tom Nomelin of St. Peter, Minnesota, 53rd anniversary of Mr. and Mrs. Ted Bruns of Gibbon, Minnesota, family of Mr. and Mrs. C.D. Cottu of Welcome would like to celebrate their 62nd anniversary, and they want to be sure to have us acknowledge that. And we have a wedding anniversary for Mr. and Mrs. Tom McCabe of Lee Center, Minnesota, and also a request for a birthday, 91 years old, for Julius Folkers of Lakefield, 91 years old today, Wednesday, September the 18th. That's requested by his daughter, who is celebrating her birthday. have a little extra time left on our John Deere bandwagon tonight. I guess we have time for one more tune, but before we do that, we'd like to say that we're always happy to have you here on our bandwagon, so make plans to join us real soon here live in our studios for the John Deere bandwagon. And a special thanks to the people who were here tonight. We enjoyed visiting with them, enjoyed having them here. So let's wind up the program. Ivan Kahle and the Redbird Polka. I guess that's about all the time that we have for the John Deere bandwagon for tonight. It's been a real pleasure to have you with us. Hope you enjoyed the show. Remember, be back with us 7:30 next Wednesday night. Chuck Passage speaking on behalf of your John Deere dealer. Hope you have a great week. We'll see you again next Wednesday night at 7:30 for another John Deere bandwagon.
Bandwagon has been presented for your viewing pleasure by the John Deere dealers of southern Minnesota and northern Iowa, including Bruck Hardware Implements, Springfield, Ernie Williams of Algona, and Hyde Implement Store in Emmitsburg. Join us again next week at 7:30 when you will see and hear Krista Hengel and the All-Stars right here on the John Deere Bandwagon. Until then, here's to a week of good farming from your friendly John Deere dealers.